Hello, Erica. How are you today?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, good. What brings you into my office today?
I guess I'm just really upset because I failed my test last week.
Which test was this?
Science.
Science. Okay. You've been doing fairly well in that class, haven't you?
Yes.
And all your other classes too, right? You have pretty good grades right now. Well, what else has been going on? I know you're working, right? You
That's
said
right.
you got a job.
I have got a job and I just got promoted. So,
Excellent. That's exciting news, right?
definitely.
Good. Well, let's see. Is there anything else that's been bothering you, or is that? I mean, why is I guess the question I want to ask is why is the failing of one test getting to you? What's going on?
Well, up to this point, I had a straight A average. My GPA is 4.0, and now it's going to get brought down, and that's going to affect my ability to get into a good school, and just makes me feel like I'm not good enough.
So it sounds like you've got a lot of pressures right now. Right? You're working full time. You've got full time at school. Um, you want to go to a good university, and so I guess another question I have is how have you talked to your parents about it?
Yes.
Yeah. And what did they say?
Well, I think that they're concerned, but overall they're pretty understanding about it.
Do you feel like maybe they pressure you to get good grades too?
Yes.
Right. So I think what I want to do here today is something that we use at this school is called cognitive behavioral therapy, and it has three parts to it that we're going to work through together. Okay. You all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a pen and a piece of paper, and I'm going to have you write down a couple things. Okay, and I want you to keep it there in front of you so you can read it and see what I'm talking about as we're working through this. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
So let me get you a paper and a pen. And so part of what we talked about was you were feeling a lot of pressure. And but I guess I should go back and explain what cognitive behavioral therapy is a little bit. So I'm going to try to help you change the way that you're looking at the situation that you're in right now. Sound good?
Yeah.
And through that, we're going to use what we call the ABC model. Okay, ABC is an acronym for activating event, belief, and consequences. Every event that occurs in our lives every day, um, we have a belief. Every person has a belief of what is going to happen, and then there are always consequences for each event that occurs. So, say you um, you saw a friend at a grocery store from across the way, and you walked up and said hello, and they said hello back, and um, but at one point before you walked up and said hello, you're like, this is a peer more than a friend. I don't know how they're going to react if I say hello to them in public. It's a different environment than I'm used to. And so you've already got this preconceived thought about the way the conversation is going to happen. And when you do that, you have consequences that occur. Sometimes positive, sometimes negative, but there's always a consequence. There's always something that happens after the activating event, right? And a lot of that is caused by our beliefs and the way that we think about things. And so I want to write down a couple things with you on this paper. And the first one is activating event. So you had come in and you were talking about you had failed this test, right? So let's write down I failed the test in science, right?
Mhm.
And that event, right, has basically it's led you here to me, right? Because you're feeling a type of way, and things are happening because of that. And so the belief part is, after when this activating event happened, what were you thinking? What was your belief at that point? And when you came to me, you had mentioned something. What was that?
Not feeling good enough.
You're not feeling good enough. Okay, so I want you to write that down under belief. And lastly, the consequences for what has happened. Okay. You failed the test, and you have the belief or you're feeling that you're not good enough lately. And so, what consequences will come from that not feeling good enough? Right? That's what I want you to be thinking about. What has come from you not feeling good enough? You had mentioned earlier that you were great at work and that you had a good job and that you got straight A's. And so the consequence from that is what? From that belief that you're not feeling good enough. I mean, what are your thoughts here? What are you thinking moving forward at this point?
I have less confidence. I'm just feeling like everything is not going according to what I had planned, and I'm worried about getting into a good school and about disappointing my parents.
So, completely understandable. So why don't we write down one of those? Let's say the getting into the university. Because I know through our previous conversations that you are very concerned about what school you go to. It's very important to you, right? So right now you're concerned that you're not going to get into a school. Stanford is your dream school, right?
Yes.
So you're worried now that you're not going to be able to get into Stanford. So that's going to be the consequence, right? That's going to be what happens because you're just not feeling good enough. You failed this test, and so now you're thinking you're not going to get into Stanford. And now what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to take a look at what we've written down there, and I want you to think about it a little bit. And I want you to, as you're looking at the activating event of failing the test, right? You had mentioned to me already that this was the first time you had failed the test. And you told me that you're a straight A student, and I see you by your records, you're a straight A student, right? Which takes a lot of hard work, right? Something to be proud of, to have that kind of grade point average. And you also mentioned that you have a job in which you recently got promoted, which means you must be pretty good at your job, right?
Yeah, I'm doing well there.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to give you a promotion unless you're doing well. Okay. So that's a good thing, right? So now that you've thought about it a little bit and we've talked about it a little bit, what is your belief now about failing that test?
Well, maybe it's not as important as everything else.
Okay. So are you maybe feeling a little more good enough?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's write that down under belief, right underneath the not good enough. Okay. And so if you're feeling better, you're feeling good enough per se, then what do you think the consequences will be at this point then? Do you think maybe you'll have a chance to get into Stanford?
Maybe I could ask the teacher if I could retake the tests.
Okay.
And then my GPA wouldn't be affected if I did better.
That's a great idea to talk to your teacher. Right. Anytime you're having a problem in any of your classes, the first thing you should do is go and talk to your teacher. Okay. Have that open line of communication with them. But I think that is a consequence to your new belief. Your new belief is that you're good enough, and you are a good student, and you are a great worker. And so by being able to switch that thought in your brain to I'm good enough instead of I'm not good enough, you open up doors and you create opportunities for yourself to be able to reach your goals that you've set for yourself, like getting to Stanford. Right? And so now, under consequences, I want you to write. What do you think you should write there?
That I can try and take the test again, and that I will get into Stanford.
I like that you put I will, because now you are making a commitment to yourself that you really want to achieve that goal and you're going to do what it takes to get there. And I think that this type of, writing down our thoughts and writing down what we are thinking and then taking a step back from that and thinking about it some more and saying, is that really the way I should be thinking about this situation? Because in your case, this is the first test you've ever failed. And you're a 4.0 student. You've got work where you're being promoted. You're doing an excellent job at work. You obviously are doing an excellent job in school. So one test is not going to make or break you, right?
Right.
And so through working through this, we were able to kind of hopefully come to that conclusion. And so what I want you to do is use this technique, the acronym ABC. And whenever you're starting to feel down, if you want to come in, we can do more of these sessions. Or you could do that at home and just say, hey, what is my belief about this situation? And is it the way that I should be thinking about the situation? Because if we can correct, sometimes you may hear this quote, stinking thinking. Have you ever heard that before?
No.
Okay. So it sounds silly, but it's sometimes where people get stuck in a rut and they tend to think themselves out of good situation and into bad situations. So this is a technique that you can use, and with my help, I'm more than happy to help you with it. We can help kind of get you through that, okay, like we did today. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. I hope this helped today, and please feel free to come by anytime, and I will see you around school, okay?
Okay,
All
thank you.
Get back to class.